Hold on here. Hey, Catherine, can you hear me okay? Oh, there you are. Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm so glad you were able to make it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so we're getting, I'm going to wait a few minutes because people tend to not be on time, as you can imagine.
That's fine.
Do your girls want to do it too tonight, or are they just kind of hanging around?
Morgan might join us.
Okay.
She was up taking a shower, so she might pop down.
One thing, I don't know if you have any painter's tape rolling
Uh,
around, and if not, it's not a big deal. And if you have a pencil,
okay.
grab a pencil, and then I've got a few canvases, and if you have like paper or something, get some paper too.
Like just regular
Those are
paper?
all, what was that?
Like regular paper?
It can be regular or the thicker kind, whatever
Okay.
you have. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be back.
Okay. Hey, Susan. Hold on. Hey, Susan.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. How are you?
You're all ready to roll. I like it.
I'm trying.
Question. Do you have any painter's tape? If you don't worry about it. Okay.
No.
Um, Catherine is going to paint with us too. She's our other person in the group. And she's going to get a little painter's tape because I was just going to, or even scotch tape, like block off certain sections just to kind of
Mm.
play around with it. How's everything going?
All right. How are you?
It is what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know who else is going to join us.
Trying to opening it on my laptop, so I might. I'm closing this. I'm on my laptop. Bye.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Catherine.
Yep.
So can you guys see each other too? Because Susan, that's Catherine. Catherine, that's Susan.
Hi. Hello.
It's kind of fun, isn't it?
Who else is joining? Just us?
Well, I thought Lee Hewitson was going to make it too, but she hasn't yet. I know she's like, we're all working, so she might be coming in late. So I'll just keep my eyes on the little list of people. So if all of a sudden
I'll look and see if I have masking tape, but I may not. I'll be right back.
Yeah, if you do, great. If not, so Catherine, today what I was thinking I was going to be doing, well, I know what we're going to do is just kind of like technique work and just kind of practice, because I noticed when I'm teaching the other, like Susan, what I was just saying to Catherine is that tonight at the end of it, we might not have like a landscape per se.
Right.
We might not have, it's going to look more abstract-y. Let me put you in gallery view. There we go. Which I think is kind of cool. So we don't really know what it's going to end up looking like, but the beauty is we'll get some practice.
Okay.
So I wrote, I feel like a teacher today. So I've got elements of art. These are the things that we're going to go over. We're going to go over lines. We're going to go over shape and form, color, tint and shade, texture, space, and value. So as you guys probably know, I didn't go to professional art school or anything like that. These are just things I picked up along the way. But I think it's important to have kind of the basics down when you go to paint something, right? And with that, I think when we do paint tonight, all these little marks that we're making will actually end up being something cool in the end, because as I'm teaching, oh, there you go. Thanks, Susan, because I was just seeing you from here up.
I was trying to
There she is.
I got it.
All right. So do you guys all have your acrylic paints and a variety of different brushes? You have some water?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, good. I'm going to move the camera now and just bring it over here so that you can see my paper. Can you see my paper pretty good? Like, okay, good. And it should be, hopefully it's bright enough too. Okay, so the first thing what we're gonna do is, if you have a pencil, Susan, do you happen to have a pencil handy?
I have to go get it. I don't have it right here.
Okay, if you want to grab one, that'd be good.
Okay. I'll be back.
So, Catherine, if you do have that painter's tape, what I'm thinking might be kind of fun is to just place little bits of it around on the paper, and then we'll lift it off at the end and then see kind of what comes of it. Okay. And really, if you want to use one piece, 2 pieces, 100 pieces, it doesn't matter. I just am using 3. Let's just rip this. And you all know that things in 3 are more interesting, right? Is it feng shui? I never know how to pronounce that word. Feng shui, whatever it is. In flower arranging, all that sort of stuff, things come in 3. So whatever you do, you want to do patterns of 3. There's Susan.
Found one.
Okay, cool. So what we did, Susan, is just, I thought it might be kind of fun to just put some tape down, masking tape. If not, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Because yours probably will look better without it anyway. So if you've got your pencil, what I want to first talk about is, let's talk about lines, okay? So you can do, there's squiggly lines, I've got, all sorts of different types of lines. When I say cross hatching, I'm saying, well, that's my pen, so that doesn't work. Hold on, where's my pencil? Now that I've gotten you to get it. All right, here it is. So if you're doing cross hatching, you're doing lots of lines like this, and go ahead and do it on the paper. And then lines like this. So think tic-tac-toe, right? So lots of cross hatching. So it goes just like this. And then you just mark right through it. Mark right through it.
Okay.
Okay, so see how it's just like that? So just kind of just keep making little marks.
In the same one?
Yeah, just the same one. Just kind of go over and over. Okay.
Oh. Can you show me what you're doing? Because that doesn't make sense to me.
All I want you to do is just make little marks like that. Kind of just cross, it's called cross hatching. So you're just line, 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 line,
Yeah, I did
cross,
that.
cross, cross.
And then what? And then what are you doing?
Just leave it like that. Just leave it like that. Because it's just
Okay.
showing you what it is. Okay.
Okay.
So the other thing what you could do are swirls. So just relax, like kind of when we did the bubble painting, and just make a big circle with a pencil. Just go around and around and around. And if you were doing this, like a lot of times people, if they're drawers, or I should say, they, you know, that's their medium, is using pencils most of the time. A lot of times people, what they'll do is figure eights to just kind of loosen up. So let's do some figure eights, okay? So on your canvas, just do some figure eights, just keep going. And don't worry, you're marking up that canvas and it's gonna have pencil all over it, but that's all right, don't worry about it. Just let it just roll. So as you're doing that, just kind of relax into it. Just making that figure eight, just keep going and going. And if you had a circle, go over that circle, just kind of go around and around and around and around. And just really what this is just kind of loosening you up, right? So the other thing that you can do is somewhat of a rolly sort of wave. So just let it just kind of, the pencil just wave across your paper, just wave across the paper. Again, just kind of, just let it wave. Okay. It almost looks kind of like a river going through. Shh, just let it go. Oh, it's okay. See? And now you feel, hopefully you feel a little bit looser just doing that, right? So now what I want you to do is, if I was painting or drawing a house or something, you're going to have to be more specific about measurements and lines. So let's just do one line straight down like this. Don't try to hold your pencil, just kind of make a line, just like that. Doesn't have to be straight, just make a line, right? Now, if you put your pinky down like this and then make a line, you get a lot more control, right? Like if you rest that pinky down, get a lot more control, okay? Now, practice, when you make the lines, make it heavy, kind of dig into it, and then make it light, just real light, okay? Real light. Just make it really light, okay? Just keep making those lines and go back into that rhythm and just kind of keep making the lines, okay? If you feel like you want to make them harder, dig in and make them a little harder, okay? So now you've got kind of a mishmash, right? So we're just going to keep going on top of it, all right? That's the beauty of this. We're just going to keep layering and layering. Now, let's make a triangle. Just put in a little bit of a triangle. Just spot around some triangles. We're just making some shapes, okay? Just make some shapes. And then maybe let's make a rectangle. And again, put them anywhere you want. Okay. Now let's go back to that figure eight. Let's just kind of roll with that figure eight again, right on top. Roll, roll, roll. Okay. Okay. So if you notice, some of these are uneven, there's not much rhyme or reason to it, which is fine. I just want you to just kind of loosen up. So this would be a good exercise to do before you paint if you wanted, just to kind of relax into it. You could, when you're listening in on a meeting and you're frustrated or whatever, you could sit and doodle, do these sort of cross hatches, just kind of do the wave sort of thing. Doodling is super therapeutic in my mind. And they have said that it actually really is very therapeutic. So if I was actually using pencil to start a piece of art, I would use a pencil. A lot of times I just dig right in and I do paint to start with, which a lot of times we do. And I know, Susan, you've seen us do that most of the time. But if I were to start something, say a home rendering or something that had to be very specific size-wise, I would start with a pencil first. And then what I would do is spray it with fixative. It's a certain spray that would make sure that the pencil doesn't smudge, you know, so when you go to paint over it, it won't smudge, right? But frankly, we don't really care if it smudges because we're just going to probably paint right over it. Now, here's where you could use this. If you want to use another canvas, you can go to another canvas, or we can paint right on top of this. But now let's start going into our paint, all right? Do you guys both have black and white? Okay, so let's squirt a little bit of black and a little bit of white, and we'll start talking about how we can take that black and white and make shades of gray. All right, so a little bit of black and a little bit of white. And I've got my big plastic palette that I use all the time. I don't know if you guys have one of these, but if you do continue to paint, I would recommend getting one of these because there you go, good job, I like it. Catherine, do you have one of these too? A plastic palette?
No, I don't have one of those.
But you might think about it because then there's something about it that just mixing the paint is easier. You can definitely use the paper plates. That's fine too.
Okay.
So I'm just going to kind of slide it down. Now let's talk about some brushes. Let's pick up a brush that's fairly small. I think something that's kind of squared off. Can you see this angle? It's kind of squared off. Okay. Really, it's a flat. I think it says number 6. So it's a flat brush. So what I want you to do is dip that brush into the black. Okay.
You need to wet it first?
You can. I tend to not because I don't want it to get too runny.
Yeah.
I did put just a tiny bit of water in there to loosen it up. So take some black and make a little pile, and then pick up just a tiny bit of white. Okay, just a tiny bit of white, and mix it on top. Okay, and then you're going to see that sort of gray color. But it might not be light enough. In fact, I'm going to get my paper plate just so you can see it. Hold on a sec here. I'm going to transfer it to here so we can actually see it better. Yeah, that's better. All right. So you've got somewhat of a gray, right? So it doesn't matter if you're looking at the color scale and you start the darkest black and you move all the way to the lightest black. Let me lift this up a little bit so you can see me. So you start with the darkest black, and then we're going to go all the way down to almost a light gray. Okay, so right here, this is where we're at now. I'll put you back here. Okay, so now I want you to gradually keep adding white so that you can practice making a lighter gray. So it's going to be all the shades going down. So if you can see how there's 3 different shades of gray right there? Just by adding just a little bit of white. And then I'm going to take another pile of white and make it even lighter. Okay? So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got the black and then 3 shades of gray. And then we're going to pick up just a little bit more white. And here's where you might need to rinse your brush out just to get it just that much lighter, but not too much.
And it still have some gray in it?
Yep, yep, should have some gray in it. And I'm gonna rinse that brush out. Okay, so there you see the different shades of gray. So if you want to hold up your colors, feel free to hold them up. There you go. Yeah, good, 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 right?
Okay.
So you have all the different shades of gray. Yeah, there you go. So here's the deal. You don't need a ton of paint. Just a little bit goes a long way, right? All right, so that circle that we did, okay? Let's take that circle and let's take a little bit of the black. And now we're gonna dip our brush in, even though I forgot to rinse it out. I'm just
I didn't
gonna
rinse
make
it.
sure. Yeah, this time do rinse it. Take out the excess white off because I want you to see. We're gonna play with a little shading here. So I want you to take black and I want you to just go down at the base of your circle and then I'll hold it up. See how I just kind of put it at the base of the circle there? Okay. And this is where you might want to add just a tiny bit of water to it just to loosen it up and maybe bring it up just a little bit. Just a little bit, okay? So you want to have the darkest color at the bottom. Then you want to bring in that second darkest.
Do we not need to rinse?
No, just go ahead and
Okay.
dip right into it and then add that next shade of gray, a bit lighter gray, right on top of that. So you're kind of blending over it. This is where whenever I say, I tease and say it's kind of like ombre, this is kind of what we're trying to do is create that sort of ombre. So we're kind of going from dark to lightest using the shade of gray. Okay, you might want to rinse your brush out just to get the excess off. And then go to your next color, the next lightest, and just go up a little bit higher, filling in that little circle. Okay. And see how I've got that kind of different shading going on. So this is teaching you just a little bit of control. I hate using that word, just kind of controlling the paint a little bit, all right? And then make sure your brush is rinsed and go to the next lightest, which is a fairly light gray, and go on top, kind of at the very top of it, that circle. Okay. Okay, and then let's go to the lightest gray that you have. Make sure your brush is rinsed and pick that up. Then add to the top. Okay. So you have somewhat of a shaded sort of little ball there. Now afterwards, if you want, you can kind of play with it and fill it in a little. You might even want to go back into the sort of black to the base again. Just kind of fill it in. Using those shades just to kind of practice. So again, we're just practicing, right? So in the end, you've got this little ball, right? So let's get, and once you're done with that, let's get another brush. It's almost, this one, it's somewhat of, I guess you would call it a script liner. This is actually a little stubbier. It's very tiny and pointy. And then there's another one that's, I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see that okay? Yeah. And then see how tiny the other one is? The two of them together. So get the smallest one you have. It doesn't matter how small it is. It's funny, look, I still have the little tag on it because I don't use it very often.
Does it have a number on it?
It does. It's a number 3. Let's see. And in fact, what I can do is this one's called a spotter. And the reason it's called a spotter is because it's a stubby little edge. Now, if it was a true script liner, it would come out longer, right? But those to me, they're kind of hard to control. This is better. So if you still have some black on your paper, dip that brush into the water. And if you've taken class with me, you know I always use the word inky. I want you to take that little, we'll call it the spotter because that's really what it is, and put it in the black and really get it runny, okay? So really inky. And then see how I made that mark on the paper plate? Made that kind of wiggly, little wiggly movement, okay? So let's go back to our little paper here. See, remember we had that nice little wave going across? Let's try to take this little liner and follow the pencil mark with this liquidy black, okay? And again, you might want to take your finger, rest it, and then just kind of drag it along. And here's the deal, you want to have a very light touch, okay? And if you don't have enough paint to get from point A here, all to point B here, then what you want to do is, remember, we lift the brush off the page so that it's not a hard stop. It's more of a feathery stop. And then, so see if you can see this here. Take your brush and start it again, go over it, and then keep going.
Your paint lasts a long time.
It's probably liquidy. It's real runny, right?
Okay.
So just go back in lightly and then just let it run. I don't know, to me it's kind of mesmerizing. If you let it, you have to have patience, I know, and just kind of let it go. It's funny, the other day when I was painting, I've been painting a lot lately. It's almost like, you know, when you drive a car and you've practiced and you've driven so much, you just get from one point to the next point. And you're like, how in the world did I get there?
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary. That's kind of the way I've felt lately with painting. And when I find that when I'm in the flow of it, it all comes out so much better. And with practice, the more practice you do, the more you'll be in flow and you'll just relax into it and enjoy it and not really worry about how it turns out in the very end, right? So you've got that little line that goes all the way across. Do we do that pretty good?
I have a lot of lines.
Good. I like it. I like it. So let's do the same thing, but let's go back to those, you know how we have the couple triangles and squares? Let's get that script liner and go back into the black. Again, it's inky, but not too inky, because let's see, right here I've got a little square. I'm just going to do a little square and just go right over the pencil marks with my paint. Okay. And if you find the other shapes that you did, if you had a triangle, Go ahead and do that. Now I'm noticing on my, my little paintbrush, there's a little hair on it. You definitely, if you see like a little fuzzy on it, get it off of there, because then it's going to drag along and it's going to mess it up. So you want to get rid of that. Okay. So then if you have a triangle, just go ahead and practice following along the lines with your little paintbrush. Okay. There we go. I think I might have one more square. Okay. So that's showing you a little bit. Oh, actually, I got one more triangle here. That's showing you how to have just a little bit of control with your paintbrush, right? Okay, and rinse that guy out. Now let's relax a little bit, and do you have something? It's an angled brush. See how the tip angles? I don't know. I'm trying to see how the best ways.
Okay.
There you go. See that one?
Yeah.
It's funny because when I first started painting, a lot of times people like using this, it's like a number 8 round brush. See that one? This is kind of your regular old round brush. I couldn't stand it. I found a lot more control using this angled brush. I really like that one best. All right, so let's dip this in water. And again, we're going to go back into the black. All right. And this time, you know the cross hatching we did? Let's just take our angled brush and just run it over those cross hatch marks, okay? And try to have a light touch. Try not to dig into the canvas.
Yeah, very not like touch.
I know. Well, and it's funny because it's really crazy how personalities will come out, or your feelings will come out in canvas and art. Like if I'm in a mood, like, you know, I'm using heavier color, or, you know, it's just amazing. And that there is nothing wrong with it. Now, once you do that cross hatching, go back over that wiggly line with that angled brush and drag it across. Okay, and then when you do drag it, let me show you how the brush should be. So it should be down like this. See how the pointy part is there, and then you go this direction and then up. Let that brush work for you. Instead of going the opposite way, drag it and then lift it. So it's like you're looking at the point, and the brush is coming towards you, the smaller brush side is coming towards you. So now you've got a thicker wiggly line. Okay. Do you guys happen to have one of these fan brushes? I know it's a special brush. Do you guys have one of those?
I think I do, actually.
Yay. Okay, good.
It's not like a ginormous one. It's
That's fine. Oh, perfect. Good, good,
the
good. I love
number
this.
2/6. I don't know
Yeah.
what that means.
I just call it, that's probably just the size of it. It is called a fan brush, which is one of my favorite brushes. I love it. So for a fan brush, you definitely want to make sure it's wet. You don't want to use a fan brush when it's dry. There is a technique called dry brushing, but you don't want to do it when you're using your fan brush, okay? So definitely dip it in water and then tap off the excess. I'll kind of bring it over here. Tap off the excess. And then let's go back in our black again, okay? And you might want to add a little extra water if it's kind of dried out, okay? So let's go over our figure 8 with the fan brush, okay? So this is where you definitely don't choke up on your fan brush. Think of when you're eating sushi or, you know, I don't know, whatever kind of, you know, Asian food, you use your chopsticks. Don't choke up on the chopstick. Let it breathe, right? Okay, so we'll pretend it's a chopstick. And then I want you to just kind of let it swirl around the figure 8 and see what happens. Let it swirl around that figure 8 and see what happens.
It's a mess.
That's okay. I always think of it almost as like, you know, the Spanish dancers. I know I've got a crazy imagination. The Spanish dancers, and they have their dresses and they're just kind of flowing in the background. Think of this fan brush as that.
It's something.
I know. I've got something. There's a circus in my mind. I got to tell you.
And my black do I need to add more black?
Go ahead, add a tiny little bit more black. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then you've got that kind of figure 8 kind of outlined. And then once you do that, we had some straight lines on the side. Do some straight lines with the fan brush. And you probably won't go exactly over those lines, but I want you to take the brush, I want you to lay it and let it just drag up, okay? So lay it down and just let it drag up, okay? You can do as many as you want. Just kind of go straight with it.
Looks like a screen.
It does kind of, doesn't it?
You know, like, because it doesn't hold the color all the way through. Looks sort of weird.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. All right, let's play with some actual color. What color do you guys want to play with? Red or green? What do you think? Or you can pick a color.
What do you think, Catherine? You pick one.
How about green?
All right, good. All right, let's pick green. So squirt some green right on that palette there. Actually, I'm gonna get a different green. Do you know what's weird? There's a certain green, and the names of these things kill me. This one, it's a blue shade green. I don't know if you can read that. I don't like the blue tint to it, so I'm going to use this Liquitex Heavy Body, by the way, is really good brand.
What's the brand?
Liquitex.
Can you put that, like, post that on the site?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because I have you know, these little cheapy paints too, but
Yeah.
when I'm painting for commissions and whatnot, Liquitex, and it's heavy body. And here's another little thing. As you move along, you'll notice, actually, look at these two. This says cad yellow, medium hue. Whenever you see the word hue, that means that it's opacity, I guess is the right word for it, it's not as thick, and it's cheaper. But look at this one. I mean, while I don't love the color, it doesn't have hue on it, so it's a little bit thicker paint. So when you see the word hue, just not that it's a bad thing, it's just, you know that it's not going to be as thick as you might want. Okay. All right. So I'm going to squirt out some green. Let's squirt out some more white. Okay. Make sure you have some white on there. Now, some people are purists and they would get a different plate, but I just kind of put it right on top.
We're just playing.
Yeah, we're just playing. Let's, if you don't mind, let's get a bit of yellow too. I just feel like yellow needs to happen with the green.
All
So
cloudy.
right now, yeah, so you've got green and the white and the yellow. Because I want to show you guys some leaf techniques. I know I did that on that one little video that one time, but let's play with a few different brushes. So this brush, it says number 1, but it's basically just a round brush. It's not very long. It's just a regular old round brush. Grab that and definitely put it in the water, okay? And let's get the yellow and the green and let's mix up a color. So you've got kind of like a springy sort of green. So we're going to play with shades. So you've got the dark green, and then you have the white and the yellow, and then mixing a little bit of the yellow with that green. You get that spring green there, okay? All right, so that spring sort of green. Let's use that and put it on your brush, and let's make a leaf, okay? So on the page, you're just gonna make one like half circle. See, I made that one little half circle here.
I need to get another piece of paper. I do big.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
It's over here.
So, and we'll catch Susan up. So what you do is, oh, is she there?
Doing like a leaf.
Both
Yep.
sides?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you did one little side, and then I want you to do the other side. Okay? There's that little tiny leaf right there,
Okay.
right where my finger is. Okay? So now dip your brush back in and go into the same color and just put a line down the center.
Cool.
Okay? And then I want you to just take whatever's on your brush, don't load it up again, and just kind of fill it in. Just gently fill it in, and it's probably going to get rid of that one little line, which is okay. Then I want you to go into the straight yellow. Dip your brush into it. You don't need to rinse it out. Then I want you to just take that yellow and just put it on one side of that, just on one side. Okay, I'm going to lay my canvas down. Make sure you guys can see it.
It's not uber noticeable, but that's okay, right?
Right, no, it should be just very subtle, okay? Here's the deal, when you go to highlight, and I've said this before, when you highlight, it's a subtle bit, because if you start highlighting too much, it's not a highlight anymore. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. And now I want you to take the dark, just the dark, I want you to go to the other side, just on the edge, and do a little bit of dark. See how it's kind of got that on one side? It's a little darker, and on the other side it's a little lighter. Okay. So that's that one brush. Let's rinse that brush out. And let's do the same thing with a different brush. Let's see, which one do we want to use? Do you guys have a brush that kind of, they don't have a number on this one.
Flat along the top.
It's actually rounded on the top. It's almost like you would think it's a flat brush, but then it's edged on either side.
I have this one. It's
Let's see.
number 8. Is that too big?
Hold it up. Nope, that one would be fine. It's
Okay.
really the same theory. I'll just use a bigger one that I have with the same thing. See?
Okay.
Same thing. Okay. So let's just go into the straight green, not the yellow. So the straight green that you pulled out of your tube. Same thing we're going to do. I'm going to do a big one just so you guys can see it. And again, just one side of the leaf right here.
Oh, one side, crap.
Yep, that's okay. Susan's been with me from the beginning, right, Susan?
Yeah. Yeah, last October you did the bubble, remember?
Yes, I do
Yes.
remember.
I was at the beach.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. With your friend Barbara, right?
Yeah. She had surgery. Eventually she's going to join your classes.
Oh, that'll be fun. I remember seeing that on Facebook. Okay,
Yeah.
so now let's be daring. Keep the green on your brush, dip it directly into the straight yellow. Okay? So right now you've got the yellow and the green on your brush. And I want you to do this on the other side, just bring it down. See how I've got kind of that varied color going on in there? A little green's coming through, a little yellow, right? And then same paintbrush, same stuff loaded on there. And just draw a little line in between.
Looks like a tie-dye.
It does, doesn't it? Okay.
It's like my middle line is like half yellow and half green.
That's okay. That's okay.
Are we filling it in now?
Yeah, fill it in. And mine was looking a bit like a football, which that's not a very good leaf. So what I want to show you is take it and make a little point. So I'm going to take the brush, I'm going to press down, I'm going to follow that line, and then I'm going to twist it and bring it up.
Looks like an avocado.
Oh, there you go. It kind of does
Yummy.
look like an
I'm hungry.
avocado. I know. I was asking somebody the other day, has avocado toast always been so popular?
No.
It's like, why is it all of a sudden so
God.
popular? I don't
It's
get
amaze
it.
balls. Yeah.
Yeah. So see how I put that little twist thing at the end? It just kind of,
Yeah.
okay.
I chat so much, Catherine.
All right.
Right.
All right. So let's do another one and let's add some white into it. And then let's use a different brush. Let's get that fan brush out again, okay? But first, let's get our, do you guys have your palette knife?
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you're mixing paint, it's a better idea to mix it with your palette knife. I tend to just use my brush, but that's not exactly the best way to do it. So you take a little bit of white, let's make a new pile, and a little green, and mix that together. It almost, mine's looking a little mint. I'm not loving the color. See, it's that kind of minty color. So I'm going to add a little yellow to it, but if you like yours, that's groovy. Just going to add a little bit of yellow to it. And then mix it up. So you've got kind of a little bit of a yellowy mint. And then the one cool thing about your palette knife is that you can just stick it in your water, and it's not like the end of the brush is going to get messed up or anything. So now I want you to get your fan brush. Okay, and again, remember what I said about the fan brush. You want to make sure it's wet, right? So tap it off. And then put it in that color, the kind of minty sort of color. And let's do a leaf with this fan brush, okay? So it's the same movement, the same kind of letter C, sort of kind of going in that shape. Okay. And then I'm gonna dip into a little bit more white, so it's a lighter minty color. And then go on to the other side. So it's straight up and down. You see how I did that? And then you're gonna take it and do the line down the center. And then you're gonna fill it in. Okay. Now, once you do that, I'm going to show you or teach you what a color wash is. So get one of your fatter sort of round puffy brush. Okay. Bless you, I think.
Yeah, it's a cough.
Oh, whoops.
Just allergies.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, so get your fat brush. And now what we're going to do is a color wash. Okay. So using the colors that I have here, they call it a color wash because you want to have a lot of water, right? So think of it, I've said before, acrylics. I love acrylics because I'm just going to bring me back on here so you can see. I feel like you're talking to, there I am, hello. We're going to do a color wash. So a color wash is when it's more water than pigment, okay? So you want to get that fat brush and just kind of swirl it into that greeny color, green.
The light mint one?
Yeah, I would say the light mint one. And see how really runny it is?
Yeah.
Let's go over just around the canvas. And I'm gonna come back off of me and then I'll bring it back here. Back down. Okay. So you can see. And now I want you to just fill the page. Just kind of go over the whole thing. Very, very light touch with this mint green. Just kind of go over the whole thing. So the cool thing is, what I was going to say earlier, is that acrylics, some people, they only use oils, and there's a big thing, people who use oils and don't use acrylics say, acrylics, whatever. It's kind of like if you're a horse person, if you ride Western, you're not cool. If you ride English, you're not cool. That whole Western English thing is kind of like the English Western saddle debate. And this is kind of like the oil debate versus the acrylics debate. I love acrylics because they're flexible, because you can do a wash like what we're doing right now, and it acts as if it is watercolor, right? And that to me is very cool. Or we can build it up, which we're going to do in a second. And I'm going to show you a little secret that I don't show many people. And just keep covering that whole thing. I added a little bit of yellow just to give it a little something because I was running out of mint. You just keep color washing. So if we were going to start a painting and we wanted to tone the canvas, you would want to color wash the white with maybe burnt umber, raw sienna, something like that, to kind of, they call it grounding it, toning it, that sort of thing. And even if your leaves, a couple little areas are a little wet, that's okay. Okay, so you should have somewhat, a little bit of color behind it, right? So you want to rinse that brush out. Now here's my trick. This is putty, and it is, what is it? Spackling, lightweight spackling. So, when the builders come in and they're sealing the joints, I use this instead of modeling paste. modeling paste at Michael's for a jar, you know, yay big, is super expensive. And I find this is just as flexible and fun to use, okay? So if you are using a palette knife, and I know you guys don't have this, so I won't use it tonight. Well, I'll use it just to show you. So you can scoop a little bit out. There's a little bit, and I'm just gonna put it right here. And I'm gonna mix it into the color, okay? And I'm gonna use that palette knife. So I've got it. Now, you could always just use plain white. So if you wanna grab some white, go ahead and do that, because it will work with the white color. But if you use this spackling, it's gonna give you that texture, right? So I'm just gonna kind of go along and just add a little texture. So if you've used a palette knife before, or if you frosted a cake, let's see if I can find something. This canvas would be good. So you can have it flat like this, or you can use the edge of it and move it down, okay? So you can do different things with it. So right now, for this, just take it and just smear it kind of across and see how it just kind of, and I'm gonna kind of push it off to the edge, and then I'm gonna work it across, okay? So I'm just kind of scraping it. And then here's the deal, there's no right or wrong. I'm gonna scrape some of it off, and I'm gonna mark it down here, okay? I'm running out of color, so let me put a little bit more green down. So if you want to use your white, you can mix a little white. Where did I put my white? Here's my white. So instead of using the spackling, use a little white, take your palette knife and pick it up, pick both colors up. See how I've got both colors on there? And watch how cool it looks. See how it's just sliding both colors, right? So when you use this, you can just kind of, like, think of frosting a cake, right? Kind of mark it all over. And if you have a little yellow, put a little yellow on there. I'm just gonna kind of go around with some reckless abandon. Just kind of scrape it on there, okay? So now it's kind of starting to get everywhere. Okay. Now we haven't talked too much about perspective. A lot of the pieces that we've done so far doesn't have too much perspective, but if you use the colors, the lights and the darks, you can kind of give some depth and dimension. When you start highlighting things, you'll see dimension showing up. So I am going to keep using my palette knife. Some people love using it. Some people don't like it. I personally love using my palette knife. Now, Catherine, I know you have that tape. Did you happen to put it on?
I did.
Okay. So this is where it might be kind of fun. I'm just going to pull the tape off and see what it looks like. Just going to peel it off. Because what it's going to do is leave some white space. And the cool thing is you can do this again. And then you've got this
Metric
kind of
shapes
fun.
are in there.
Yeah, right? So I'm trying to think of the word for it.
It's wacky.
Well, wacky that's definitely the case.
It's not a professional term.
No, but you know, I don't tend to use professional terms a lot of times. I'm trying to think of the word for it, and I will afterwards. You know how that goes. it's almost, oh gosh, I'll remember it. It's the reverse. It's, you know, there's a word for it where it's the reverse of the color.
Yeah, okay.
So,
That's cool.
yeah, right? It's kind of cool, isn't it? So through this, we use, let's see yours, Catherine.
Yeah, because she
That
has a
is
big,
so cool. I like it.
Catherine, say something so I can see your big screen.
Yes.
Small, can you say something?
Oh, maybe her
Hold
sound's
on.
off.
I'm sorry. I put it on mute because my kids
Oh,
Okay,
there you
cool.
go.
are laughing
Let
at
me
me.
see.
Hold on. Let me take off my tape.
Oh, yeah.
Eight, yes.
That looks so good. I love it. I love it. All right, Susan, let's see yours.
Well, I had to do two different ones. I don't have any rhyme or reason. I just messed around.
That's okay. That's
Do
okay.
anything.
But see, the cool thing is I've recorded this, so you can listen to it over and over again, and it's going to come out differently every single time. And then, so now when I do our next class, I'm thinking what we're going to do is a landscape with like a little fence and stuff. So it's going to give like maybe some mountains, some trees, a little fence. So we'll have some practice doing
Cool.
some perspective. All right.
Cool.
Okay. And maybe that's probably going to be the one that I film so that you can, you know, take your time with it. All right. And as usual, if there are any suggestions that you guys have, let me know. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Relax and have a great night tonight.
Yeah, you too.
And thanks for being part of the group. I so appreciate it.
Love it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, gang. Have a
Bye
good
bye.
evening.
You too.
Bye.